Hey everyone, what's going on? Welcome back to Take Flight Garage. In this video, we're going to be talking about something I'm so excited to have done to this car, something I've wanted to have done for years. And the main issue was finding a place who would accept the challenge to do it. And if you don't know where this is going already, we're talking about window tint. I have not seen any videos on 944s talking about tinting, the challenges that come with trying to tint a 944. For some of you 944 owners, especially in either Texas or out here in Arizona or in the hotter parts of California, if you guys are older and you're not caught up to speed with some of the window tinting technology, then hopefully this video will give you some food for thought and some options to take a look at and consider. Let's get the big thing out of the way. The reason why nobody wants to touch these cars is because of this huge, giant back piece of glass. What happens is when you try to lay out a big, giant, huge piece of film here and do it in one piece, you can get creases or wrinkles in the film along these complex curves. From what I understand, back in the day, it was commonplace or bragging rights. If some guy had done a Corvette window, you could tell him, oh, that's nothing. I did a 944. That is just gone now. So if you are just a regular average Joe like me and you're just trying to go to a shop to have someone tint the car, I had places who all out full on rejected to do the car, period. I had places who would basically told me that they wouldn't touch the back glass but would have no problems touching the side windows, which to me is just, it would look so weird to do that. And the main reason why I'm doing this is for the heat rejection properties of the film to help protect the interior. So it doesn't make sense if you just have this big, huge, giant oven back here, magnifying glass. Why am I going to pay $500 or $600 to have 4 windows tinted to not see any of that added benefit? So it's a pain, and you really have to do your due diligence in your own area and see if you can find a shop who will even touch this car. After, I swear, honestly, I'm not making this up, this isn't hyperbole, at least half a decade of networking and meeting people and just reaching out, I finally found a shop who's accepted the challenge to try to tint this car and do it in one piece. If they can't, I'll have to accept that they're going to probably do it in multiple pieces and line it up with the defroster lines. I really don't want that to be the case. I really want this to be done in one piece. I've seen it done in one piece. I know it's possible. It's not impossible. It's just difficult. So this car is, rather than just, hanging out for 4 hours at a shop, I'm paying a good chunk of money, and I'm also letting them keep the car for several days. That way they have ample time to take their time with the back glass, use extra material. Hopefully those resources for me as a customer are going to help them out so that they can do the best job possible. And if they do a great job, then I really want to be able to recommend them to you guys out there, especially in the Phoenix area or metro area, to get this done. Because we all know that 120-degree weather out here sucks. And what we really want to do is try to preserve the interiors and the materials of our cars as best we can. So let's talk about types of film. This car is going to be getting Lumar Pinnacle Formula One nanoceramic tint. It's, I believe, their second highest heat rejection rated film. There's a bit of trade-off when you go with the either the Formula One or the Pinnacle versus the Stratus. The Stratus has higher heat rejection, but from what I've seen based on reviews, the Pinnacle is a much more clear looking film. We're doing 35% on all these windows, which is the legal limit for Arizona. And I'm also going to have a completely 100% translucent piece done on the windshield so that there's absolutely zero light blockage here, but we should get the same heat rejection and UV protection properties from this clear piece of film. So you won't even be able to tell that the windshield's tinted, and not even the 70 or 80% type, but just completely translucent clear. So I'm stoked on that. I have no idea what film they're going to use for that. I don't know that they're going to use Air Blue 80. This shop is a specific Lumar dealer. The way that works is Lumar only allows shops that they deem worthy, I guess, just based on their installation skills, to deal their tint, to sell their tint. So this isn't like a place that offers different brands or competing brands. It's all just different tiers of Lumar. That is not my personal choice. It's just happenstance. This is the one shop that happens to want to be able to tint this car, and that's what they sell. That's what they offer. So that's the personal choice that I'm going with. The other competing film that you can look into just for pure objective reasons is Expel. I don't have any personal experience with either, so I don't feel comfortable recommending either or to you, other than just do your own research, look at videos of the tint films themselves. From what I understand, Lumar is like the old school window tint film company. They've been doing this forever, and they're the industry leader, and everyone else is sort of just, I don't want to say piggybacks, but they sort of lead the way, and everyone else is just trying to catch up and compete with them, and that's where that competition comes from. So again, take that with a grain of salt. I don't want to sound like a marketing team here. It's just, this is what this dealer sells, and this is the film that I'm going with on the car, and I've heard excellent reviews about it, so I'm stoked. Let's talk about types of film real fast, so you can get a quick idea. I have no idea what the percentage VLT is on this back window, but these back windows do have some really old tint on there. This is an example of purely just dyed film. These back windows are not ceramic in any sort of way. They're not metallic. This is just what old school dyed film looks like. There's no heat rejection properties. It's basically just an aesthetic choice, and adds a little bit more privacy or security to the car because you can't see into those back windows. You can actually see that there was evidence of these side windows being tinted, driver's and passenger side. There's a couple pieces of film hanging out in there, so somebody obviously had these doors tinted before. But that's just what the old school film looks like. You can kind of see that purplish, bluish hue to it as it ages and it degrades. That tends to be the telltale sign of dyed film. From there, you step into carbon films, metallic films, carbon ceramic. I don't want to make this a half-hour long video, even though it's probably already going to be a half-hour long just for me yapping, just this intro. But long story short, as you change or as you progress through the different types of film materials, and their heat rejection qualities change, their price changes, obviously. And so you can make a decision there from, okay, based on where you live, do you really need the top tier ceramic film? Well, if you're in Texas, or if you're in Arizona, or if you're in the hotter parts of California, then yeah, you probably want something that's got really, really high heat rejection properties. And the other added benefit to doing something like that is not only just the thermal heat rejection of the film, but the UV rays, so that we can hopefully prevent this from happening again. I finally have some new seat covers on order, so stay tuned for that video. The 944 front seats are going to be completely reupholstered, and I didn't want to make that investment because that's not a cheap thing to do. I didn't want to make that investment until I knew that the material, the leather, was going to be 100% protected, especially since leather, from what I understand, leather is not going to be able to stand up to heat and UV as best as, or as good as vinyl like this stuff will. So hopefully that will allow these materials in here to last a long time, because again, it gets really hot out here and I drive this car. So the other added benefit to doing this is that when the air conditioning is on, again, this isn't going to keep the car 30 or 40 degrees cooler when it's 120 outside. It may keep it 10 or so degrees cooler or take longer for it to heat up. But the real added benefit is that when the AC is kicking on, the car should cool down much, much quicker. And I'll be honest, I just had the AC taken care of last year. And when it was 115 outside, I had the AC on full blast, and by the time the air was getting to me, it was like lukewarm. So it was ice cold out of the vents, and by the time it would get to me, it was just lukewarm. So I could have the windows up and the AC full blast and still break a sweat. And it's mainly just because this thing is just one huge giant fishbowl. There's glass everywhere. It's awesome for visibility. But when it gets hot, man, does this car get hot in there. So I think that's enough for this introduction video. We kind of talked about different types of film. You know what this car's getting. I wanted to do one last just sort of walk around with the car without tint so that you can see how it looks in the shop lighting. I will absolutely do another walk around during daylight so that you can see how the car looks tint versus no tint. But I'm super excited. I really hope that this goes well. Again, it's just that back glass that's a pain in the butt. We'll see what's going to happen with this if they end up doing it in multiple pieces. I know it can be done in one piece, so. But yeah, I'll shut up. And the next clip should be us saying goodbye to the car in the morning. Okay, they got the keys. So this is one last walk around for tint. Okay, here she is. I just picked it up from Tint Cartel, from their Pecos location over by Gateway Airport. This is basically my first 30 or 40 minutes back with the car since, and I'm like so stoked. I'm completely blown away. Those guys did an absolute amazing job. So I'm gonna talk a little bit about the film that we decided to go with. And I parked here to try to give you an idea of how it looks in direct sunlight. And I'll do a walk around of the car so that you can see how it looks in the shaded area. Ignore my shadow. So you can see, so we did Formula One Pinnacle, 35% all the way around. And then we went with Air Blue 80 on the front glass. So, and as you can see, they did the back hatch all in one piece. It looks awesome. And I gotta be honest with you, even in direct sunlight, it looks darker than I expected it to be. Arizona tint law out here is 30%, so I'm well within the legal limit. There's no issue there. This film has like 99% UV rejection, and I believe something like 58% of the total solar energy. That heat rejection, that's the heat that you feel coming through the glass, the heat that you feel on your skin, the radiant heat. It's 80 degrees at the end of March, probably like 83 degrees right now. And I was cold inside the car with the AC on like 2, which has not happened before. You know, not unless it's like 70 degrees outside and if I'm driving with the AC on. So I'm just going to take my time and do a walk around. Here's shaded side of the car. You can still see into it. I didn't want to go too dark. Oops, focus. I didn't want to go too dark just because I'm just not a huge fan of that look, especially on an older car like this. Plus, I do drive a lot at night, and so I didn't want anything crazy where I can't see when I'm backing up. I mean, granted I have the backup camera, but still, I just wanted it to look really mint, and they did such a wonderful job. And I love this Air Blue 80, because looking at it, you can't even tell that the car is, that the front glass is tinted. And you still get all of those heat rejection properties. It's virtually a clear film. So it's practically not having any film on there. As you can see, the Porsche logo up here is gone. And during the installation, I believe they were trying to move remove the mirror, and the front glass ended up cracking on the other windshield. So a bit of unfortunate news, but in my case, It worked out for me as the customer because that glass was really old and it was a bit pitted. So I now get a fresh windshield. And the reason why I really want to shout this shop out is because they called me and told me what happened right away. And they sourced a windshield directly from Porsche same day. So they reached out to Porsche Chandler. You can see this is the aftermarket glass, but it is from Porsche. It's directly from them. I think they knew that nobody wanted to be waiting around for several months. So we'll just keep an eye on some of the gaps here. I do hear a little bit of wind noise, but I'm not terribly concerned with it. My main concern is that it doesn't leak. But the car does need time to set. The tint needs time to set. And the adhesive in the windshield is going to need some time to set. So, and I really like what they did here to sort of help disguise any light gap or anything. They just took a nice little piece of vinyl and wrapped around the edge of the glass so that it looks pretty seamless. You wouldn't know unless you were looking for it. And they did a really good job. The lines are all cut really clean. Okay, so we've done a full walk around outside the car. Let's hop in so we can show you how the film looks from the inside. So you can see there's kind of a good contrast between how it looks inside and out. I think this is the perfect percentage light-wise. And it is coming through a bit brighter through the camera lens, but the windshield is pretty accurate. With the Air Blue 80, there is a slight blue hue to the film, but when you're in the car driving it, you don't really notice that blue hue until you're outside looking in and your eye has something to contrast it to. So I'll do one last video at night, looking from outside of the car in. Sit back here, you can see this nice, huge, giant piece of glass is done all in one piece. These guys absolutely nailed it out of the park. So I'm gonna go ahead and give them the recommendation for whatever you have. I don't care if it's a G-Body 911 or a GT3. These are the guys to come to. Absolutely professional. Took their time with the car. I gave it to them for a week. They were very, very fair with their pricing. They did disassemble all of this back here and did it without damaging anything or breaking anything. If they hadn't had told me that they took it apart, I would never have known. And I also saw that they did disassemble the door panels too, and everything is put back perfectly. So I'm beyond stoked. We've got the wiring to reattach up in there, but we'll do that after the windshield cures and after the adhesive for the mirror cures. I want to give that a little bit of time too, because it's really easy to pop those back off. And I think in honor of Mike, I will source a vinyl shop to cut me a new Porsche script logo up there. I think after so many years of living with this car, it looks a little bit naked to me now, but no big deal. Okay, we're back inside the car, and I just wanted to do a wide angle shot. The real thing I want to see here, I'm going to try my best to sort of convey it. There is no low angle haze, something I was worried about with doing ceramic film. My naked eye can't tell, and this is always what 5 to 6 p.m. looks like in Arizona. You're driving directly into the sun. For me, it feels like I'm wearing sunglasses right now, and I don't. So I currently don't have any on me. So I think this is awesome. And I wanted to give you one more shot of the windshield here, the Air Blue 80. You can't even tell. You would have no idea that there's film on this windshield. So I'm really excited, and that means that we can do some upgrades to the interior and know that they're going to be protected. So stay tuned for the next videos. I think you guys are really going to enjoy what I've got coming. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. 35% on the side windows, and I'm telling you, it's no different than when I was driving without any film on the windshield. So all of the heat rejection benefits and none of the poor visibility. So this is pretty awesome. The haziness that you guys are seeing on film, I don't know why that's there. Maybe my lens is just dirty, but that's not how it looks to me driving right now. So a couple more clips of the night driving, and we'll be good to go. So the last thing I want to show you guys is the glare reduction. That's what rear view mirror driving looks like. Some of these lights right there, it's almost next to none. So really super happy with all the results.